guess I have a short advice and I have a long advice. If I would only have like a short time, let's say, I would meet somebody in a train or in a bus and get into a conversation, and it turns out that this person is a mental projector and I only have a few minutes. I maybe would say everything that is important for you regards big decisions in life, that you gain clarity and really have some safe feeling inside of your body, that you feel comfortable and confident and have some sense of value in your life. You really need to talk with others and don't take yourself, what you think, serious. I guess this is the short version. Talk with others, allow yourself to talk with people, share it, talk about what you could do or would do or wish to do, but don't take yourself too serious in what you say or what you think, especially what you think. Don't give any attention to the thoughts, because you can have so many different thoughts that are strong, but they are not for your life. And the long version would be, I guess I would say that as a mental projector, it would be very good to study human design, actually. It helped me a lot in my own process as a mental projector to study the basics, at least, that there's other types, that there's centers, that I have 2 to 3 defined centers as a mental projector, and that there's undefined centers where I am taking stuff in and I amplify those things. That's very important. That helped me a lot to understand, okay, my identity, for example, this is never me. It's a flexible identity that I have. Or the vitality, the energy that I have in my sacral center, the vitality of life. Or sexuality, my sexual identity too. That all of this is never fixed. It comes, it goes, it depends on with who I am. So the long version would really be about study it, experiment, try things, and understand that you are very, very different. You are an alien. You're so different from the majority of people. And I'm not telling this in the sense of that a mental projector is better or worse or whatever. It's just very, very different. So there is nothing in the outside that you can actually follow as an idol or from a movie or from a magazine, the superheroes that we have as kids. There is nothing like this that you could actually use as a goal or a direction. You need to find your own direction, and because you don't have a fixed direction, you need to find it through the environment, through other people, through talking about things, through not taking your mind stuff serious, and through studying a system like human design to understand in which environment you're actually moving. Where are you?
What do you think is the most important thing for a mental projector to remember in daily life?
That's a tricky question. What's the most important thing to remember? There's many things, actually. There's a lot of things that are important. But at the same time, obviously, you cannot, all the time think about all of those things. This is not very efficient. Maybe it's efficiency. Think about efficiency, or remember to be efficient. So this can be like, remember that you're not here to prove something. Remember that you're not here to overextend yourself, to do too much. You're not here to avoid confrontation. You're not here to hold on to things that harm you or hurt you or feel very uncomfortable for you. Maybe in a nutshell, I would say, remember that life for you should be easy. It should be light and easy, and it should flow. It's about the feeling of success, of sliding through life. Money comes to you, resources come to you, love, the people, everything comes to you if you allow it. So remember to be at ease with life. Don't stress, don't run away, run around like crazy. Be relaxed, be at ease. Everything will come. Take your time. Yeah, sometimes it takes time, but it will come eventually.
From your perspective, What are the main differences between mental projectors?
I once sat down and was thinking about this question actually. I even wrote something about it. And I made up names. I'm not sure if I remember everything right now, but for me there was specifically 3 different kinds of mental projector. There was the reflective mental projector that was just, head, so pressure to think, and the thought processing of the ajna. This is the reflective, and then there is the expressive type of a mental projector. That is the ajna center, thinking, opinions, conceptualizing, connected to the throat, expression and explaining and so on. And then there is the combination of this, the reflective, expressive. So I was like, oh, that's maybe can be to really differentiate that there is 3 different kinds of mental projectors. And inside of those groups, there are again different types. I don't know, I cannot explain how many because it's a lot combinations that can be possible. But basically, we have 6 different channels. So that's 12 gates. And there can be a combination of each and this and that. So it can be many different combinations. For example, I am a reflective mental projector, so to say. I have the 6447. And that means I'm an abstract mental projector. Collective. Past, looking to the past, trying to make sense out of stuff. Very different than, for example, an expressive mental projector, ajna throat, who has the 1762, the channel of opinions, and it's about details and facts and sharing something about the future. It's not so much about the pressure to think anymore, the doubt that can be in the head center. No, this is about expressing, and that can be very not busy. I mean bossy. That can be very bossy and judgmental. Because logic is pretty much bringing some judgment. And then we have a third kind of version that can be this individual mental projector. Very freaky, very weird and different, but also very inspiring or very genius. For example, somebody with the 6124, this is in the middle from the head to the ajna. This can be somebody who really sparks very interesting new thoughts. Like, wow, this can be a paradigm shift, And if maybe this person has it connected down with the 4323, this channel of structuring, this person can structure this individual new thoughts that are not logic and not abstract, have nothing to do with this. This person can structure this and express it. And this is something, there's a potential of explaining. And by the way, this is the channel that is perfectly designed to guide a manifesting generator with the 3420, and a true manifesting generator is perfectly designed to do this. Because it's this individual, because the mental projector can really ask those interesting questions about the energy, because every mental projector is not completely, but it's open below the throat, has an open identity, has an open root, open sacral, open emotional system, open spleen, open ego. There's no motor. So they really know a lot about energy and know a lot about those things because they need to face it daily and deal with it and learn from it. So I would say there's different mental projector types. Some are more expressive than others. Some are more, very thoughtful and thinking a lot. Depends on if it's conscious or unconscious. Some are very logical and judgmental or bossy, and some others are, maybe more the alone type, the individual who just, doesn't fit in and doesn't want to do anything with the others. And maybe there's some others who are like collective and they really want to share stories and, So there is for sure different characteristic, I would say, between them.
What role does environment play in decision making for mental projectors?
I would say environment plays a big role, but at the same time, now in my journey, I would not call it environmental authority anymore because it's not true. In the beginning, it was called no inner authority. None. That was also a bit weird. Then I think Ra said something like no direct inner authority, because it's indirect. It needs the other. It needs the outside. And for sure, in my logical understanding, it's like, okay, if it needs the outside, needs the other, it's about environment. If you're in the wrong environment, you may don't have people to soundboard with. So the right environment is important, at least how, for me, I understand this. But there is something else that is very important, actually, that most mental projectors don't know. And this is cognition, because everything that you decide is ultimately based in your cognition. It's, for sure, this is shut down in the beginning of your journey. In most cases, there's exceptions, but in most cases it's just shut down. And I know this. I have my first cycle through, and my feeling cognition that I have is, wow, it's much more clear and present than before. So yes, the environment plays a big role. If I'm in the wrong environment, it doesn't matter how much I have access to my feeling cognition, because if I don't have possibility to soundboard, to bounce off of my stuff that I process, and this also has to do, you have all this openness, you take everything in, you absorb it as a projector. So you need to dump it too, you need to just puke it out every now and then, without solutions, without that anybody takes serious what you say in this moment. And because you have an open identity, the environment is very important. But this is not just exclusively for mental projectors, because there's other projectors who have an open identity, and maybe for them it's also important. But yes, for the mental projector, it is important. Yeah, the environment is important.
Over these past 7 years of experimentation and deconditioning, what have you found to be the best way for you to make decisions?
That's a very tricky question. Interesting one, because I don't know. Right now I feel like I have no idea. So I will talk about it. So the answer is in the process of finding the answer, and that is talking about stuff. Talk about everything, anything. It doesn't really matter. I share a story with you because it's really funny. When I was young, I always were talking about the stuff that I wished or wanted or thought I wanted or imagined, or I was always talking about this stuff, about my decisions. Before I did something, I was talking about it. So, and with the parents, obviously, or with my siblings, or with very, very good friends, that was not an issue, because they kind of allow you to be, and you trust them. But when I got older, when I was in my teenage years, I remember that I finally stopped doing this. Because I thought, and this was some kind of superstition, I thought when I talk about it, it will not happen. It will go wrong. There is maybe this is just in Germany, that this is some kind of superstition. Don't talk about your plans. Don't talk about what you will do or whatever. But the thing is, you need to talk about it. And obviously in this time, I didn't. So it was very hard to make decisions. I made wrong decisions a lot. I harmed myself a lot. Nothing seemed to work. I just, made decisions with my mind, or I took the advice of others. So I gave others authority over myself, because, I have a lot of open centers. Every mental projector has, and sometimes you even have completely open centers. So, for example, I have a completely open cycle. So I always let others decide what I should work. And I worked in so many different branches and fields, but it was never really what was fitting for me, because I didn't decide it. It didn't came to me. It was just kind of enforced by others because they were worried or feared, or they meant the best for me. But the best for me is never what you think it is, because you have no idea how it is to be a mental projector. This is maybe, in general, you could say, sometimes you can, like a 50-50 chance for a generator, maybe you can find something big because they respond and you can observe, but this is not with a mental projector like this. And I want to tell you this, like, if you have this idea like, oh, I cannot talk about it because then it goes wrong, this is exactly just showing you what is not for you. You know, if you say, oh, I cannot talk about this and that, and then you try and you do it. I don't know, let's say you're 16 and you like somebody, and you talk about, I would like to ask him or her out, or blah blah blah. I would like to write a letter or surprise him or her, and you don't allow yourself to talk about it, and you just do it, and it turns out wrong or it turns out good. It has nothing to do with the not talking about it. You know, if you talk about it and it turns out bad, it's just because you're not here to initiate. That's another thing. You are not here to initiate. Really, this is so freaking hard. Wow. Because initiation is everywhere, and I still do it. You know what to do. I'm it's not like that I deconditioned since the early days, and I didn't grow up unconditioned. I was conditioned by a manifestor and a projector, but a self-projected projector, at least a projector, but still, you know, this manifesting conditioning that I received from my mother, this will never go away, I guess. But it's much, much better, you know. But it's still there. And to catch yourself, this is the job. To observe it, to catch yourself, to not do it when the mind says, but you should, you could, you must, we need to, blah. No, just wait, relax, lean back. Or you can also be an active mental projector that needs a bit of walking or whatever, you know. It's not about that all of us are couch potatoes. It's not true. But some are, you know. Yeah, I guess that is what I can say to this question.
How much time do you think mental projectors should spend alone each day to realign them with themselves?
I think a lot of people will not like this answer that I give, and I'm not the ultimate knowledge base of this is all correct. You know, I always say people don't believe me. This is my experience, and this is what I know about it or learned about it. I would say you should sleep alone each night. You can have the day with friends, you can have your work, you can, be with people, but at least in the night, be alone. You know, be alone and take the time. And I know this is, if you have a relationship, this is not easy because you like to be with your partner, and for sure, with the partner has a defined cycle, you really get drawn to this, and it's nice to have it and to feel it, but eventually it will harm you. And for me, this feels like I lose myself. I lose my sharpness, you know. It's almost like our aura, like this very focused, it's like a scalpel, you know, this very sharp knives that you need for surgery. This gets dull and numb and not really cutting precisely. So you don't see anymore. You don't sense things anymore. And it doesn't mean that you always, every day, radically need to sleep alone. I mean, here you should also use your inner authority, you know. Is your inner authority having a yes for it? And be very clear with this. I still didn't master this, you know. I still have this issue sometimes to just, you know, because it feels nice and I want to please my partner or whatever, to say, okay, let's sleep together again, and then another day and another day. But I can sense the outcome of this, and my partner too, you know. And whatever, if you're a single mom, for example, and your kid sleeps with you in your mental projector, it can be the same. You exhaust yourself with this. You cannot be there for the other if you don't have your clear inner energy. And for example, if you cannot sleep alone at night, at least be alone over the day, you know, have some time. And in general, when you start your experiment as a mental projector, I was alone for many, many months, maybe even years, in my own aura. I was really paying attention to this, to not sleep in anyone's aura. I even was so radical that I said, okay, I have a sleeping bag and I have a tent. If I cannot sleep inside somewhere, because I was traveling, that has a place where I have my own aura distance, I went outside somewhere. I found a place. So the first couple of months, maybe a year, you should really have space to be alone. Really, because you have no idea who you are. You don't know who you are. You know, you always have been conditioned by all these people in your life, by all the people you love, by all the people you hate, because they're all in the same environment usually. If you're in the school, there's people you like, there's people you don't like. So if you have the possibility to be alone, do it, even though it feels very uncomfortable and it can be scary and it can feel like you're helpless. But you're here to be helpless. You're not here to be helpful. You're not here to do the manifesting, the generating, the typical things of this world. You're not. You're here to guide it. You're here to be clear. You're here to see it, and you're here to be recognized for seeing it.
How do you balance the need for connection with others and the need for solitude?
Very good questions, by the way. I think a lot of people would like to know the answer to this. I understood over the years that the need to be with others, for example, with my brother or with my partner or with people of like friends that I like, or even places that I don't like but I feel kind of safe there, has only to do with the sensations of my body, and the sensations of my body that can be negative, or at least my mind is measuring it as a negative. It's like, oh, we feel fear, so we should not be here, we should go there, we shouldn't do this, we should go there, we must go blah blah blah. There's once, I don't know who, some teacher, maybe it was Peter Schöber. He once shared a story about Mental Projector and how he sees this, and I want to kind of repeat this in my own words. And he said there's some kind of little, very small animals in the ocean that can only survive in a very specific level where the water is not too cold and not too warm, and there's not enough, there's not too much pressure and not too little pressure. And this is a bit like being a mental projector, to be honest. It's not like that you're staying straight in the one line. No. You can't. You always need to move. It's an up and down. It's like you try and error, even if you're not a third line, but you need to experiment. You make your mistakes, you fail, you will harm yourself. Hopefully not too much. You just need to stand up again and do it again and learn from it. And so it's really like this, going in this kind of specific level of water, going too high, the pressure is too low and it's too warm, and you go low, it's too cold and the pressure is too high. So you really need to figure out where. And this is, for example, too, with the people, with who can you spend time actually? Like, who of those people you spend time with is actually seeing you? Please ask yourself this question. If you're honest with yourself, will change everything. Do you spend time with this person because this person sees you, or because you feel safe, because there's an opportunity, because the person, spoils you or says something, notices you but not really recognizes you? Many reasons can be. So if you know this already, and okay, there's 3 people that I like to spend time with, check out how much time can you spend with them. When are you exhausted, and do you communicate when you're exhausted? I don't always. I try to, but between mental projectors now, sometimes we speak, hey, I'm exhausted. It feels for us that we scream already, I'm exhausted, then the other doesn't hear it. So it is a game almost of knowing how, when, with whom, how to set boundaries, how to stick to your boundaries without getting pressured or aggressive or tense, or like, I need to, it really takes time to master that. So that's why it's good to have people around you that see that, know that, understand that, kind of have the awareness to recognize you for what you are. That you are not somebody who can be with somebody for 8 to 10 hours each day and we do sport and all of this. This cannot be. You can do this maybe every now and then, but then you need to have recharging time. And the recharging time, you need to really recharge, to clean out all of the stuff you take in, and then to get clear and be present again, to be the guide for the others. and not the worker.
What daily practices have been the most supportive for you as a mental projector?
I guess that's different for everybody because everybody has different routines. I'm not sure if I am a routine person. Actually, by design I'm not. But I tried different things. What I can say, for example, is if I'm overwhelmed, if it's too much, if I feel weird, what always helps me is to shower. It sounds super simple, but yeah, take a shower or eat your favorite food. Helps me too. So I guess it's about comforting. It's about comfort stuff. Because if you're alone as a mental projector and there's not a transit right now that helps you with your open spleen that feels uncomfortable and scary, you look for comfort, But don't overdo it, I gotta confess, I eat too much sugar, I ate so much candy shit all the time. What to do? It's better now, but still, I still do it. Sleep, have naps if you want, have the possibility to have naps and sleep. Why not? Don't push yourself to go over the boundaries. But I need to know. You can, even when you have a normal job and work, you can just have a nap. I did, I was working in an office and you can have a nap. What else? Have a buddy to talk. It's not about soundboarding all the time. But have somebody you trust and talk with. It can be a projector. For me that helps a lot that I have some projector friends that I can just share, because they come from a same, I don't know what word I can use for this. Maybe from a same point of view. So it helps to talk with them, and it's not about finding a solution. It's just about getting it out of your system, because you take a lot of stuff in. Yeah, and in the beginning, I don't do this often anymore, but I think I would like to, because I see my body buying stuff for it, to do it actually, is drawing. For me, it was really a lot about drawing, expressing stuff, because talk is not always enough, in my opinion, because this is a vocal cord stuff. This has nothing to do with your arms, your hands, your body. So I guess, all these typical things that you do for emotional release can work too, draw, dance. I made a lot of music to process stuff. I wrote journal for 2 years, that helped. But this is always changing. As I said, I'm not a routine person. I have the gate 15. I'm extreme, so it changes. I'm this and I'm that. But again, it's really about expressing. I think it's really about expressing stuff to get clarity.
Something that you would like to say more about this unique type of projectors?
I would like you to understand that mental projectors are pretty complex, and that there's a lot of things we still need to learn about it. And this can only happen by mental projectors being themselves and having environments where they can be themselves. That means it is almost like that it's dependent on the energy types. It's dependent on the generators and on the manifestors to, for example, create spaces like this, or invite us into spaces where we can be ourselves, where we can express, where we can help with the skills we have, because we love to guide, we love to give, but if we are in this normal world, in this 9-to-5 job world, we have no possibility to actually express this potential. Not at all. I couldn't. I never could before. I just took the step and went into a journey, and suddenly human design came my way, and it suddenly happened. I was very, very lucky and privileged to be where I am right now. To really have the time what I need to. Don't work when I need to, but have some space and can form it how I feel. To be here at this beach right now and make a video, Who of the most people can do this when they feel for? On a morning, on a Wednesday. I mean, it's not a lot of people. So, yeah. I guess we will see. We will see what the future will bring. And if we find a connection that is respectful, between energy types and projectors, especially mental projectors and generators, because this is really the future. This world can be changed only with a connection, a communion between those two types. Only. They are the future. If generators and projectors work together, everything's fine.